pointing at?
Oh, we're just in the shop, and I was just pointing at my bike.
Oh, that's your bike.
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
I know. It turned out nice.
What is it?
It's the Pivot Shuttle AM.
Pivot Shuttle AM.
Yeah, I got it all spruced up because I'm selling it.
Oh, so it's no longer going to be your bike.
That's why it's pretty. Otherwise,
it wouldn't be pretty.
Yeah, it wouldn't be pretty.
I'm like, Jesus Christ, I don't think I've ever seen one of your bikes that's clean.
I know. It's true.
So I never would have guessed that was your bike.
So I got a dad joke.
Go for it, man.
What kind of shoes do frogs wear?
I just read this one.
Did you?
Yes.
Were you looking too?
I was. Go ahead and just say it.
Open-toed
shoes.
Yeah. So,
and you can log that away.
I literally looked up, so I Googled worst dad jokes ever. And
that's what I Googled too. What is the best way to save your dad jokes? Like the one you just told.
Oh. Shit.
Did you read this one too?
No, I didn't.
In a database?
Oh, God. Man, this is so bad.
Oh, the music's still playing.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I was going to do that.
Oh, there we go. So we got a new show tonight.
We got a new show, new concept. It's kind of a twist on the bike shop secret thing, but and maybe we'll get to some bike shop secrets in here. But we have come up, probably not. Yeah, the way we go, it never works. It never works. But we have identified some segments that we are going to try and experiment with that will be recurring segments. 4 of them in total. Mm-hmm. Should we introduce them first and then go through them, or should we just do them as we?
But just with the caveat that we may change them because we may get bored or something.
Yeah, so, but like first and foremost is what are people talking about? I think the vision there is like things that we're reading about, things that Dane's seen in the shop, things that are all over YouTube, whatever. Interesting, kind of maybe news clips, quick news clips or whatever. The second one, what grinds my gears. Mm-hmm. Dane was really passionate about this because I think a lot of things grind your gears. Yeah.
It's fun to talk about them too. So,
one that I was passionate about is the hype reel. There's a lot of hype about new products, and Dane's definitely got a good perspective. Yeah. And then the final one, me being like the cheap dude that I am, bang for the buck. Like, what are some good, like inexpensive options for your bike if you're building something or replacing something, or it's just speccing out a new bike? What are some good deals?
I like that because a lot of times when you do like social or YouTube or whatever, you try and get online and hear about stuff. All the reviewers are like riding the top of line bikes and carbon wheels and top line everything, and it gets a little daunting. And you see these prices, and they're
like
crazy.
$10,000 for a bike.
And so I kind of would like to maybe pinpoint some stuff that's like, wow, this is a really good product that doesn't cost an arm and a leg. Yeah. So. Okay, so first one is news or
what are people talking about?
Yeah, and so you came up with this one.
I came up with this one, and really, this is in line with something that has been a theme in our podcast and something that we're, for sure I'm interested in is the, the financials and the business aspect of like the bike shops. And I still have on the list, like we did bike shop profits. Yeah, I'd like to do bike company profits. Yep. And maybe different parts of the value chain or the supply chain there. But so I'm always kind of watching and seeing what's going on in the bike industry. And everyone knows there's a lot of stuff going on. But there was a new announcement this week. Nolly Bikes, they're a Canadian company, typically only aluminum. And I think they have some titanium gravel bikes as well. Mm-hmm. But they're in receivership. Yeah. And if you don't know what that means, it means that they had a loan with a bank, and the bank is calling in that loan, and they're basically handing that loan quote to a receiver, and then that third party will determine, what's the best outcome for the business. Is it selling the assets? Is it restructuring the business? Is it winding the business down? So we don't know what's going to happen with Nolly. I know they have a pretty, not so much here in Tucson, but I think, across Canada and across the United States, they've got a pretty, deep following of people that love their bikes, their aluminum bikes. And, so it's another company that's in, financial disarray at the moment. Yeah. So I looked into them and then, kind of compared them to Rocky because that was recent. Yep. And then another local, we're not doing too much as local, but this receivership and then the bank calling in the loan early reminded me of a company that was in Tucson.
and had the same thing happen. And I had a friend of mine and I were researching it, and sure enough, they're almost identical except for different reasons. So basically, with Rocky, they went into the Canadian bankruptcy or restructure.
Right.
And part of their restructure was things like if it was going to be sold, it needed to be a Canadian company, things like that. And Rocky was kind of proactive in kind of getting into this ahead of time before they were in too much trouble. And then they ended up selling to a different company in Canada. I think it's Chaos Sports. Right. And
Rocky's good now. They're solid and
they're rebuilding.
They're rebuilding. Yep.
So, as a dealer, we were super worried about it.
Yep.
And then seeing things like they hired a rep, that's a good signal. And then 2, we start to see more reviews of their product, and then they're talking about new product coming out. It's slow. It's not like this just slamming stuff out there, which I think sometimes ends up being almost like a if you see too much from a company, they may be in a little too much trouble.
Yeah.
Like when Kona started selling
2 for 1.
2 for 1, if you see something like that, it's probably more of a signal.
It's like, that doesn't feel right.
Yeah. So Rocky got ahead of it, restructured, and then it wasn't investors were shifting, so they got new ownership. Whereas Nolly is literally they were doing the same thing. They were starting to restructure, downsize, reformat so that they could basically get leaner. And then the bank just decided,
called in the note.
Yeah, decided, nope, we want all our money, which is crazy. It's crazy to think that you're running, doing fine. And so then when I compared it to this other company that was called Trisports, and Trisports was a really similar situation. It was a tri company that sold bikes and stuff. They had an online presence, and they had opened up a second store up in Phoenix. They were making money. They were doing great, and the bank did the same thing. And so you have this situation where these companies are just trugging along, no problem, and the bank just decides to call in the loan. It was kind of crazy to me. And so both Nolly and Trisports went through the same thing. Trisports got into a situation where they were fighting legally. It was pretty drawn out and soaked up a ton of their money, and they ended up just folding. And then Nolly looks like they're now in, like you said, in receivership, and so that is now they're controlled by a third party, like you were saying.
It's going to determine.
Yeah, and that's scary because they don't have control anymore.
Nope.
So
in my experience with receivership, typically it's when whoever is holds the loan, and I don't know anything about the bank that held the loan. I know that the owner of Nolly put out some on their website, I don't know, some rough statements against the bank. But
because it's
a big bank,
and I'm looking at this research, and I'm like, man, that would be really upsetting. So I did dive into YT.
Yep.
And so YT just went through a lot of this, and it was similar to more to Rocky's side.
Yeah, but different country, different laws, right? Because YT is a German company.
Yeah. But when you look at the structure of what's going on, is the company struggling? Yes, they were struggling. Then how do they fix that? And so restructuring, and so like YT was losing their backing basically, and it was private venture money, so that was moving out, and so YT had to figure something out, and then the old owner stepped back in and bought it again and is trying to resurrect it, and now he's got to do all those things, but he doesn't have a bank that's going to pull the carpet out from under him.
Venture investment is different than a loan. This case. But typically what I find is that when a company is called into receivership, typically it's when they've been late on their payments for a good amount of time.
Yeah.
And the bank has kind of they've got like a risk algorithm, and they put them in the risk algorithm, and it says, hey, we don't think this company is going to be able to turn it around. Yeah. And we need to stop the bleeding now before they, squander more of their assets and we lose the money that effectively we loaned the company. Yeah. So it's it's a risk thing. So I don't know the details of how that all happened, but another company struggling.
I always put Gorilla and Nolly kind of in the same
in the same category.
Yeah, kind of boutique-y, just innovative like suspension companies that didn't necessarily like. Gravity finally moved to thermoplastic, carbon, and then Nolly really didn't do that too much. But
no, as a matter of fact, they made a conscious decision to stay away from carbon.
Do you know who else did that? Do you want to? We're talking about news and who's
is it Canfield?
No. Well, Canfield, yes, yeah. Okay. Although Canfield did have some carbon bikes, that they tried to work with, but it's Commensal. So Commensal has made a conscious decision, all aluminum,
all alloy.
Yeah. Oh. And so I wonder if that'll ever change. I always wonder if 2 years later, that company's going to regret saying something like that.
Right.
Cause the industry changed. Now, in the news also, Specialized just released an aluminum e-bike.
Yeah. But let's not leave Nolly, because I got one more put on Nolly. So, and you probably will love this.
Okay.
There's a lot of hypotheses out there about the fact that they shunned away from carbon, but they also made a conscious decision never to build an e-bike.
Yeah.
And those two things, they wonder with how the sales are being split and how e-bike sales are exploding, if those were contributing factors to the situation that they're in.
That's a great perspective, because everybody who is just resistant to e-bikes, I always say the same thing. Don't buy one, and
if you don't like them, don't buy one.
It's serious. That's all you do is just don't buy one. But there are a lot of people that took kind of almost like a moral stance on them.
Yeah.
And I still hear that a little bit. I was listening to another podcast, and one of the presenters is an old school guy who I got a lot of respect for. He's been around a long time. And you could hear it in his voice that he's not a fan of e-bikes, and he kind of wants to make them seem like motorcycles.
The devil.
Yeah, and so the talks about how e-bike legislation is another topic that's hot right now that everybody's talking about, and how the industry is trying to separate itself from the Surrons.
Yeah.
And then I was just talking to a moto dealer, and they were saying that the moto dealers don't like the Surrons. They want to be separated from them too.
Interesting. I've never thought about it from their perspective.
I guess their perspective, from what I'm understanding, is that they are getting the flack for these kids in these kind of little motorcycle gangs cruising around doing wheelies in traffic, and they're
it's probably eating into their margins too, because they're instead of selling a motorcycle, someone's buying a Surron.
Yeah.
So they're losing business.
But also they are being lumped in, just like e-bikers, into that. And so they're both, it's funny, both separate categories are getting lumped into this category that nobody likes, which is I don't want to say Surrons are a bad thing or anything like that. You can use them properly, and that's awesome. But what's happened is there's no regulation. Anyone can go buy one. The parents will end up buying these things for their kids, and then their kids go out and ride them, and the parents kind of
and they're like $3,000.
Well, yeah, and they're less than an e-bike.
They're less than a mountain bike,
and
then an acoustic baseline mountain bike, right?
And the parents are like, hey, you're just going to go ride around the neighborhood, because they're thinking it's a bicycle. Or a bicycle-like thing. And then the moto guys are mad because they're taking these Surrons and tearing up mountain bikes. So then moto guys get blamed. Yeah, it's a mess. So, and now you got legislation in New Jersey where, because of this,
a kid that was killed.
But because of this misconception of what is what,
they're trying to make their license any bike, any bicycle with a motor.
Yeah. And so now if you've got a comfort e-bike that you're riding on a river path or something, you're now going to have to wear a helmet and license it and all this other stuff. And it's just, it's getting really convoluted.
If you're interested in that story, Seth from Burnt Peak does a couple different episodes, and he gets really deep into that whole backstory.
Do you think he's anti or pro e-bike?
He rides an e-bike.
Once in a while.
Oh.
He's
a lot of his episodes have been e-bike focused. He gets the old e-bikes, and he does all the electronic work on them.
Everybody's doing it.
Everybody's doing it.
It's true.
Everybody's doing it. I've never ridden a Surron, but it sure looks fun.
Yeah.
I wouldn't ride it on my mountain bike trails, but it sure looks fun.
So one thing I want to bring up in the news before we switch gears is aluminum. So aluminum is becoming more and more hot. Aluminium. So I just heard one of our suppliers is going to have an aluminum bike.
Who's that?
I can't tell you. And then...
but can I guess?
Sure.
It couldn't be Pivot.
No.
Okay, because I was going to say...
You know what? I've had 3 or 4 aluminum pivots. So they exist. And one of my pride and joys...
Like old ones? Or prototypes?
Prototypes.
Yeah. But they're not even doing the aluminum prototypes anymore, right? Because they're doing
the carbon and the bonded...
When we went to their factory.
Yeah. Specialized just released their new short travel e-bike, which is blowing everybody's mind. Why is this? I don't know. Everybody's I can't even tell you.
Have you ridden one?
Aluminum or Specialized?
No, a short travel e-bike.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
What'd you think?
If I had to predict about the way the industry's going, and you guys this will be recorded in perpetuity. Is that correct?
I guess, as long as I keep it published and pay the whatever dollars a month that it takes.
Here's my theory.
Keep it published.
You guys can hold me to it, but here's my theory is that I think the industry is going to get to this place where, in the shop anyway, we sell primarily lightweight trail and cross-country non-e-bikes, and then almost everything else starts to go into to e-bikes. So like if you're coming in for a 150, 160, 160, 170 bike, it's going to be hard for people to...
I'll make an even bolder prediction.
Yeah.
We're going to get to a point where that's all there is e-bikes.
No.
And they're going to be so light that you can't tell the difference. And you can choose to turn the motor on or not turn the motor on. Every bike, that's my prediction. Every single bicycle will have a motor.
You're making me gag.
That's what she said.
Okay. First of all, almost all of them do now because they have little batteries on their motors on the derailleurs.
In some way, they're electric bikes. Yeah.
But I think we did the 24, and on my analog,
and it kicked your
lightweight.
ass.
It did.
You did well though, so you did good times. I don't know why you.
But what it did do is it did remind me that I do love that regular bike feel. What I don't like is just a heavy bike to go have fun, and so. Anytime I want to go like speed around, like, one of the local trails that's not all about jumping off stuff, I like my lightweight bikes. I really do when I don't need that heavy hitter. Yeah. But man, all the heavy hitting that I do anyway, and this is in my area, it tends to, you have to pay to play. You have to climb up pretty hard stuff and then bomb down. And the bike that I want for that has got 160, 170 millimeters of travel. It's heavy duty tires. It's a bigger hit bike, coil springs,
and you don't want to pedal that.
And that bike is so hard.
Up the mountain.
Yeah, it's so hard to get up the mountain to have that little bit of fun. And the e-bike makes it 100% fun. I get to have fun going up and down, and so that's why I think that the bigger bikes are going to continue to evolve and be e-bikes, and then the bikes that we're going to sell a lot of that are not e-bikes are going to be mostly lighter weight. Bikes that really focus on making sure that you're not taxed as a rider,
right,
and that they're lighter and faster. And you can't do that with a 170 mil fork. So,
all right. Well, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
All right. What's our next segment?
Next topic.
Yeah.
Hang on. I got to end that one with with the right sound here. What are people talking about?
Oh, that's why. It's
what are
clapping.
people talking about? Okay. Clapping.
All right.
And the next one.
We got a lot.
What grinds my gears?
Okay, we got a lot of polishing to do. I'm just saying. It's pretty rough. I'm just gonna say it'll get better. This will be the first one.
Yeah,
we'll look back.
We don't know. We'll be like, what the hell were we doing?
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Yeah. So
what grinds my gears? All right. So we each have a topic, and the interesting nuance here is that I came up with my topic that grinds my gears. And it's a little bit related to Dane.
Just a little bit.
And Dane came up with one.
A little bit related to you.
And it's a little bit related
it wasn't on
to
purpose.
Me. And we weren't trying to slam each other.
No.
But that's just how it goes. You want to go first or want me to go first?
I want you to go first.
All right. So here's what, and this is, I'm biased. I am a trail rider trying to ride bigger stuff.
Yeah.
But like, down country and trail rider, like that's where I have the most fun.
Yeah,
on down country and like just trail, mountain bike trails.
Some people don't like down country, so they don't like that word. So are you just cross country?
Well, I don't like cross country because I'm not a racer.
Okay, that's why I'm bringing this up, because I'm trying to figure out what is the difference between cross country and down country. What do you think is the difference?
To me, it's like I got a lighter bike with like 130, 120. And I'm probably riding it on I'm riding it on cross country trails for sure, but also on some stuff that's a little chunkier and a little bit more challenging, a little bit underbiked.
Okay.
So it's fun.
Okay.
All right. So that's down country to me.
Okay.
It's like I can ride my bike on the Vortex or I can take it out to Star Pass, and I can do it at both those. And I would put the Star Pass in the category of a little harder,
like
a little more technical. And the Vortex is just ride as fast as you can around.
Yeah, rocky,
smooth corners.
rough terrain. You'd be more apt to have a trail bike.
Yeah.
And when you say Vortex, we're talking about really smooth.
Yeah, thank you for
buff terrain that's like hard pack. A little bit of kitty litter is what we call it.
Yeah.
A little bit of stuff on there, but for the most part, it's not really challenging your suspension.
Yeah, not challenging your suspension.
Whereas the trail bike, rough terrain is just constant pounding. You're going through your travel. You got
to think about where you're going, and you got to be real careful with your lines and that kind of stuff.
Technical climbs,
hard climbs.
Yeah,
downhills that when you get to the bottom, not big or scary or big jumps or anything. Get to the bottom, you're like, oh shit, you pucker up a little bit. Like, man, that could have gone bad.
Yeah, because you're just hitting just multiple bumps, and it's not like you say, it's not a bike park or anything like that. Okay,
so that's the basis of like who I am. My wife is like Lacey is like a more gravity oriented.
Are you sure this was a slam on me and not her?
Oh, it totally is a slam on her. It was intended to be a slam on her.
Check.
But you fall into this category yourself.
Okay, yeah.
So I get super frustrated with what I'll call gravity bros.
Okay.
Not just gravity bros.
That's racist.
But the ones that have, maybe, I guess. But the ones that have the attitude that if it's not double black, it's not mountain biking. If you're not hucking off some crazy shit that you could have done, that if you crash, you're going to die, and you're hanging off the side of a cliff on Portal or something in Moab, that what you do is not mountain biking. And that bugs the shit out of me because I've been riding bikes for like 30 years or going on 30 years now. I'm never going to ride Portal.
First of all,
I am still a goddamn mountain biker.
First of all, stop bagging on Portal because it's awesome. And if you don't ride it, you're not a real mountain biker.
This is what grinds my gears.
Yeah, I know. I totally get that. I think that happens with everybody. I think if you're a road biker and you're not the fastest to the top climb, or the opposite, we have a big mountain where we're at when you're riding a road bike, and it's a challenge to get up it. People come from all over the world to ride our mountain, and it's 26 miles or something up.
Yeah.
And it's famous, and it's got a good shoulder. It's got a lot of great riding, and you'll have the people that have bragging rights. So you're talking bragging rights. You don't get bragging rights unless it's like double black is what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I see that as irony because if you talk to the spandex crowd, like the people that were winning the 24, that were out there winning cross country races, they're going to be the opposite, right? They're going to be down on you if you're not
so fast,
if you don't have a certain FTP, if if your watts aren't a certain amount, if you're not on the leaderboard of, and if you're not KOM and Strava,
that would grind my gears too. I guess like I'm just your everyday mountain biker.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And so like I'm not extreme on either end. I just like to ride my fucking bike. So why does that make me less?
It doesn't. And you shouldn't feel that way. First of all, that's usually an insecurity in the person who's doing that to you. And
I'm saying it.
And I'm doing it too. Like I'll do it, and I'm insecure sometimes. And so all the time. And so when I think, with this, you're actually a much better template for how you should be. Is you figured out what you like, and that's pretty cool.
And you hurt my feelings.
That's okay
because you booked a trip to Whistler.
Yes,
didn't invite me.
No, because you would have hated it.
And then
we would have been like, bro, you got to ride this Black Diamond,
bro.
So
you'd be bro gravity me right now.
Gravity, it can't be bro. It's brah.
Gravity brawed me.
My 14-year-old's teaching me it's brah.
And then just to fuck with you, I was like, hey, I think I'm going to go to Whistler with you. And you're like,
I would take you.
You did.
Yeah.
But you were kind of like, I don't know if you're going to like this trip.
So Jilly is pushing me hard to go to Whistler.
So I should definitely go. I can ride with Jilly.
And she's like, brah, why can't I go? Brah. And that's her thing now. Bruh, skibbity. But she's going to Angel Fire with us. And
is she? That's awesome. Yeah, we're going to go to Angel Fire.
So I'm excited. She hasn't been to Angel Fire as a rider. She's been there to hang out and watch me ride.
She hasn't been as a rider?
Not as a rider,
cool.
Yeah.
We can show her where you broke your collarbone.
Yes, exactly. On the wall that I'm going to write my name on, by the way. Don't tell anyone, but I'm going to
just told them.
I'm spray painting my name on that thing.
Yeah.
I don't know where yet, but I'm going to do it. So,
okay.
Okay.
Right, so what's yours?
Oh, all right. So mine is
a little slam on me.
A little slam on you, but unintentionally. Totally. It's just been
same with me.
Something that we've been dealing with in the shop all the time, but lately it's just been getting a little bit heavier, and it's basically In my world, my job is to help people find what they need to make them have a good time on the trail, have them a good time on their bike, to make their bike work, and I've always had this role of like the person who helps you get what you need. That's my job. And it's how I make a living and how I make money. And so, that is what I've kind of been training myself and learning to do forever. Uh-huh. And there's this kind of culture right now of people who just don't think that's important or needed or necessary. And they're just kind of really, the industry is kind of almost feeding to it. And it's driving me a little nuts where they're just kind of encouraging people to sit on a couch and make a purchase decision. And it's been just grinding my gears a little bit lately because, I'm finding that these people are making the bad decisions, whether it's like they buy a bunch of parts online for their bike and they bring them into the shop.
Put all these on my bike.
Put these on my bike.
And none of them fit.
None of them fit. And this, I just about cussed it. I just about cussed. It's happened last week, and it's so frustrating because that customer could have come here, probably paid the same, or at least the same now because he's got to buy two things. But
I saved $6.
And like he didn't see the need for us, but now we're there for him. Yeah. And it's like, oh man. And so I'm seeing this a lot with e-bikes. E-bikes, I'm watching a lot of social and a lot of YouTube and a lot of reviews on all these bikes because I like to be up on everything. And I feel like I'm very up on what e-bikes are doing, what's important, how they work, and
we're going to test that in the next segment, by the way.
That's I'm down. A lot of people come in and they're kind of just, they don't know enough. And by the time I get done with them, they come out like they just read an encyclopedia. And what I'm doing is I'm absorbing all that info that's out there, and then I'm filtering it and making sure that it's good because, and that takes a lot of time, energy, and know-how to understand when somebody's giving you a review on a product on how they're slanting it. Are they doing that because it's a sponsored review? Or are they being paid? Did they get given a bike? Are they curating a relationship with that company?
Yep.
Like what are their motivations? Are they giving you good info, or are they just feeding you marketing spiel? And I see it all the time. And so are these customers going out and getting on the brand's website and reading everything about the brand, getting super jazzed and then buying it, not realizing that the brand is never going to tell them anything bad. It's never going to give them a bad perspective. It's only going to give them the best. And so how do you filter all that? And then your local bike shop, is the one that's trying to do that for you. And so this buying off the couch, my big grind right now is I just got done with a Norco test ride, and we rode this new TQ 60. And I have now ridden two different bikes with the same motor, and they were very different experiences.
One you got along with, one you didn't.
Yeah, and it is crazy how different the ride experience was.
But they both had the same motor.
Yeah.
And when you say ride experience, you're talking about how the motor felt.
Yeah. We're not just talking about, I can't really tell you that the bike really had much to do with that experience. It was really how the motor was tuned by the company.
Yeah.
And how it reacted under the way that we pedaled. There's little inputs that the suspension could maybe giving the motor a little bit of a different viewpoint.
Yeah.
If it's got anti-riser,
that would be
anti-squat.
Minor, not major.
Yeah, but it was just kind of blew me away how these two bikes were so different. One was clearly a very viable product, and then the other one is not one I bring in. And it wasn't, the fit and finish was the same. It's the same brand. They had the same size battery, the same size displays.
It's the same brand?
Same
brand motor.
Same brand motor, yep. Yeah.
But different bike companies.
Yeah. And the ride was so different. And I can't tell you that it was actually the suspension or the bike or the weight or anything like that. It was really a motor difference too. And so
same exact motor. So you can't just buy a bike based on the motor because
you just in this
experience.
Yeah. You can use all of this info that's out there, and you can buy using just what's what's on paper, but you're going to lose some of the nuances, and so you're going to lose some of the things, and so you have to really, really, really be careful of what you're hanging your hat on and how much percentage you put the worth in. So, for instance, We have a bike in the store that believe me, I cannot figure out why we don't sell every single one. And the Norco rep was telling me they feel like it's 10 millimeters of difference. That's the 10 millimeters. They go, it's 10 millimeters. That's it. So we have a Norco Fluid. It's a e-bike, and it's got a Bosch SX motor. So lower power, but good high output, 600 watt output. And it's got a lightweight carbon mainframe, lightweight battery. The least expensive one was $4,500, which is cheap.
Oh, wow.
With a carbon frame. Okay, and this is why I was kind of bringing up the Specialized earlier, because they're all excited because they're $6,000
aluminum frame.
And I'm like, these things are, like lighter, and and this $4,500 bikes were coming in at like 42, 43 pounds. So
it's pretty light.
It's super light, and they're using a horse link with a mullet design, which everybody and the brother is starting to use.
Yep.
So. And I'm like, why is this thing not selling? Like, it should be the best selling bike in the store because it's hitting the price point. It's got RockShox suspension front and rear. It's got Deore 12-speed drivetrain. It's got all the stuff.
It's a good bike.
Yeah. And for some reason, it's not on paper selling. And my Norco rep was I think, so this was Alex, and I love Alex. And Alex was like, I think we introduced this SX motor way ahead of everybody else, and nobody knew about it. And we learned we shouldn't necessarily be the first one to market with it. And I was like, wow, that's scary that you made this good a product this early at this price point, and it got ignored because it wasn't expensive. Like, if you added $2,000 to that, would have sold more. Like, I kind of.
So those bikes are still available.
They're running out of them. And that's the other nice thing that's about.
So people are starting to figure out that they're good bikes.
Yeah, they're starting to, but there's a new one coming, and there's rumor, and I don't even know if I'm supposed to talk about this, but it's okay because it's a rumor, right? It's not fact.
Yeah.
That bike is getting DVO, and I'm very excited.
Oh, look at you!
Very
excited about your DVO.
Yeah. But the other thing that they talked about this is a
DVO is a suspension company, by the way.
140 bike.
Okay.
So again, they had this bike over a year ago.
Shorter travel.
Well, that's just the new rally bikes, and the Specialized Raleigh bikes and stuff like this are like, it's hot right now? 140, 150, or 150, 140, like that. They had this bike like over a year ago, and it just cracks me up. So okay. So that was some of my grinding gears,
You're all right. Should I play the music again?
Yeah, That's supposed to end our segment for grinding our gears. So that was our grinding gears segment. I hope you guys liked it. It was basically me ranting for 15 minutes.
Yeah. Not 15, like 5.
Oh, well, that's good.
It wasn't bad.
So,
all right. So next one is the Hype Reel.
Can you dig it?
I can dig it.
Can you dig it?
Yep. I may have to crack open another soda.
You may have to crack open. That's good. I think I'm on my second Gatorade Zero here. I'm not drinking alcohol today because I'm just getting over this demon virus that you passed me last time we recorded.
we both have our radio voices on because we're all clogged up.
Yeah,
so
that's crazy.
Springtime.
But is the Hype real? Okay, so I went out to Bentonville because we're going to buy property somewhere, and we've got 3 places we're looking at: Bentonville, Chattanooga, and Boise. If you have an opinion on where I should buy, let me know. But we went to Bentonville, and I kind of decided that Bentonville wasn't for us. It's like Disneyland for mountain bikes. And I don't know if I'd want to live in Disneyland. It's like cool to visit.
Would you want to be close to it? Because like I'm bummed that it's so far away and I can't just go experience it because I want to, but it's really far away. Like I think it's a fly or...
It's a fly,
for sure.
For
us. It's a long
like
road trip.
Multiple day trip.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, like, I won't say no to go back, but it's not going to be like the place I want to go.
Like, I'm hitting Whistler for the second year in a row.
Yeah, I don't think it's Whistler.
No, okay.
No, I wouldn't put it in that category.
Okay.
But it's cool for sure. Anyways, while I was there, I rented. Dane's all into the Amflow bikes, and every time I come in, I thought another one today when I come in. You're selling a lot of Amflow bikes.
Going out the door like crazy.
And so I rented the Amflow, the higher end one, that weekend when we were in Bentonville just to try it out. And I think those e-bikes are good bikes for Bentonville because you can, do a lot of laps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we were there for a short amount of time, wanted to ride as many trails as possible. But I loved the motor, that Avinox motor. Mm-hmm. I did not get along with the bike.
Which blows me away.
Because I ride a Specialized.
Because, I mean, if anyone were to ride this bike, this Amflow, and then a Specialized, I feel like they're almost identical. Like, I know they're different, and somebody's going to be like, they're slightly different, and 65-degree versus whatever, but they're so close. So
yeah, I think the reason why is I like that Specialized suspension design for my downcountry bike. But I don't like it for the bigger travel bikes.
Yes. Oh, you know what? I would totally agree with you on that. Like and especially since you rode a stock one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was, I mean, it was stock. It was there's two levels.
Only two.
It was the higher level.
Yeah. So it had the Kashima.
Yeah.
But it's still air shocks and 160, 150.
Yeah. I mean, maybe if you got a hold of it and we fucked around with the suspension and we got that cleaned up, it would be better. But stock, I didn't get around along. And, I did it myself.
Yeah.
It was a rental bike. Who knows what shape it was in.
Well,
I'm sure those things get a lot of miles.
You're used to a Gorilla Gravity.
I'm used to a Gorilla Gravity.
Super smooth. You just did long travel kit on it.
Yep.
And did you put it's got the Zeb on it?
I haven't put the Zeb on yet.
Okay, yeah.
Just because I've been sick.
Yeah.
But it's coming on soon.
Yeah.
It's got 38 on it right now. I'm not getting along with that 38. That thing's gone.
Yeah.
And I'm putting the Zeb on it. And,
I can tell
Rock Shock I know there's a new Zeb coming out.
With a new Zeb and a new 38, I have it in the back. So
you've got them both in the back?
Not the new Zeb. But the 38 sitting there. I'm not supposed to talk about it till tomorrow, but I know this won't air. Until
will you show it to me before I leave?
Yeah,
okay,
yeah. It's pretty dope. So
okay.
I don't know if I'm going to ride it. We'll see. But there's enough changes where it may be worth it.
Well, I'm stoked on the Zeb that I'm getting. You guys know. I don't need to talk about that. You guys know how much I love that.
So Avinox.
Avinox. Okay. So I loved the motor. It was fantastic. It was more power than I would ever need. And I didn't ever put it in turbo. I didn't need to. But I read that there's a new motor by a company I didn't know about. And I've read a little bit about it now. But the Molly company released a new motor called the M40. And it sounds like it's a pretty significantly close to what Avinox puts out from a torque perspective, a peak power perspective, and then a weight to power ratio perspective. So it's got 105 newton meters of torque, 850 watts of peak power, 340 watts per kilo of power to weight. How does that match up against the Avinox? And
they're almost identical. Avinox goes up to 1,000.
Okay.
And then they have a boost which goes from 105 to 120.
Okay. That's just for a short period.
Yeah.
Right?
The big thing that I noticed on our spec sheet is that the weights were the same. And that's one of the big things. So this segment is about, is the hype worth it?
Is the hype real?
Yeah, is the hype real? So that Avinox is real. Like they are killing it. In the last year, they have redefined
what a motor is,
what a motor system should be, how it should feel, how much it should weigh, how much power it should have. Everybody has adjusted because of that company. And I was very reluctant at first, mainly because the company that owns them is a very, very big company, but they're based in China. And so we're a little leery here because, I don't know, paranoia.
That's DJI.
Yeah. DJI. And so far, I would say that as a new bike company, they're learning. There's a few things that they're still figuring out.
Yep.
But the product is pretty sound and pretty hot. And then when you sit back and think about it, who's going to make the most powerful, lightest motor on the market?
Someone that makes drones.
Yeah, who's going to make the most powerful, lightest battery on the market?
Someone that makes drones.
And who needs to make sure their software that runs all this is really good?
Someone that makes drones.
Yeah, and it like as soon as you think about it backwards,
it's a way easier business problem or technology problem for them to put it on a bike than it is to put it on in the air.
And I love my Bosch bikes, and I just rode the new Bosch, and it's amazing. Yep. So they've stepped it up. But if you were to say, hey, who's going to make the lightest, most powerful motor? Is it going to be the guy that makes like a hand drill or a little motor or some electrical component in your car? You see what I mean? Like the logic is like, wow, they had an edge from the beginning because their whole idea of what they need
is about weight
was about that. And so it does make sense. So is the hype real? Yeah, those DJI motors are.
Is the hype real on the Molly?
So we talked about this before we got recording, and Molly has been around a long time. One of the things that grinds my gears, to go back to grinding gears, is that there is a company that has been using Molly software and a lot of Molly technology, and has had 109 Newton meters and one of the most powerful bikes, most natural feeling bikes for the Newton meters is a little off depending on the years, but like since 2013. Like think about that. There's a company.
Can we say what that company is?
Yeah, it's Rocky Mountain.
So my bike's got a Mahle motor.
I'm not 100% who actually makes the motor, because Rocky Mountain power plays are a very unique system because they don't have a gearbox. So they do have a motor, and then they have a step down gear that's chain driven. It's this tiny little chain that's on there.
Is that on the left side?
Yeah, it's on the left side.
So I have another chain on my left side. Do I have to maintain that?
Yes, you do.
Oh shit.
It's covered, and it's covered. And
here's a bike shop secret: if you have a Rocky Mountain power play, there's another chain on your bike.
There's a drive chain on the left side, and there's.
Thanks for telling me that.
Sorry, buddy.
Shit.
But that bike has been around forever, and it's had over 100 Newton meters. It's supernatural feeling. It's just been a great bike forever, and nobody talks about it because the hype is all marketing. Yeah. And Rocky has been going through restructure, and now that there's this big premise on 100 Newton meters become the catchword, Rocky's been kind of silent because they're restructuring. They don't have a bucket.
They're not like, hey, we've had one for 10 years.
Well, and they don't have a bucket full of money to pay everybody to talk about their bikes. And really, again, if I reference the grinding my gears, one of the problems with people kind of just absorbing info and not getting it from good filtered services, is they just get whoever spent the most. So honestly, you're hearing our
AC unit?
No, that's our compressor.
Oh, your compressor's turned on.
Yes, yeah.
Just randomly?
Yeah, there's probably a leak somewhere. It's a compressor problem. I wish I could say.
I'm like, there's something messing up our sound. You guys know I'm particular about sound. Yeah. So I'm like, what is that? And I was like, oh, it's your compressor. Okay.
There's a line that goes from way in the back to the front, and there's probably a small leak somewhere.
Okay.
And so it'll go on a couple times a night. So it's not too bad, but we do maintain it a lot. So,
all right.
Okay. So the Mahle, Rocky Mountain.
And the old Specialized Levos.
Yes, there was. And now we got to be careful because Specialized has had a lot of companies making a lot of different motors, and they've had a lot of different versions that have gone through a lot of issues. And I have no idea which one they made or what series, or if that was the one that had problems, or if that was the Brose that had problems, or whoever it is. So, and then the big thing with the Mahle is the mid-drive now. So this new motor is mid-drive because I have a Mahle on my Argon gravel bike.
They've made a lot of hub drive.
Yeah. X35, I think is what mine is.
Okay.
And that was the number one. Any high-end carbon road bike when e-bikes first hit road bikes had that motor system in it. So Colnago and Pinarello and Argon 18, of course, Bianchi. All of them use that motor for the longest time until they evolved into something else, or they may still use it.
Okay. So you think it's real? You think the hype's real on the Mahle?
I do. I think they're a good contender, but the problem is no longer. So when DJI came out with 100 to 120 at 2.5 kilograms with 1,000 watts, they were the only ones. They just blew everybody away. A year later, Bosch has that. Specialized has that. Mahle has that. The new Aventon.
So it's like the new Aventon motor.
Yeah, it's the new standard.
There's a new standard.
Yeah. But that's how quick that changed. I'm old and young at the same time. Very young old person or an old young person. I'm not sure. Yeah. But I remember when V-brakes came out, and in mountain bikes we had these cantilever brakes, and they were a nightmare. Didn't stop your bike. I mean, you had to buy certain soft compound to get them to stop. You had to tow them in so they didn't squeal like crazy. You had to get this cable angle correct so that you got leverage, all this stuff. V-brakes popped out, and I think it was Avid or Shimano. I can't remember who came out with them first, probably Avid. But it was like a year, and the Canties were gone. That's
everybody. Blew up the industry.
Yeah, and that's how fast this revolution in e-bike motors is. Now, the big thing that I think is going to happen in the next year is we're going to see two things. Here's my prediction.
Lighter batteries?
We're going to see full powers get lighter.
Yep.
Because I think everybody was disappointed when some of these $15,000 bikes were 53 pounds.
Yep.
And I don't think no matter how many times that commenter on the review said that it feels planted, I just want to smack those guys in the face. I really do. Because this whole idea of planted.
Do you know what I really like about my Rocky Mountain Power
Is
Play?
It planted?
I'm not kidding you.
Yeah,
it feels so planted.
Okay. All right. Let me tell you what planted is. Planted is heavy. That's all it is. It's a heavy bike.
Feels amazing.
But
I can corner that thing better than any bike I have. It's planted, bro.
It drives me nuts.
So
man.
Planted.
You know what? I never have a problem cornering, but what I don't like is when I go off a drop and the front end drops because the bike's so freaking heavy.
Yeah. You just have to use your biceps and
whatever. And when I go off a drop, I want to be able to pick the bike up, and a 53 pound bike is just too taxing when you're going downhill because you're already angled down, and then you're trying to lift the bike so that you don't nose pick into the ground. And
bro, we got to get you back in the gym.
I know, I do want to go to the gym, but I got your point. The other thing is make the bike at 45 pounds, and you get rid of a lot of that.
Yeah.
And if I'm paying $15,000 for a bike, it better be 45 pounds or lighter, and full power. That's where it's going. The second thing is, I don't want to pay $15,000.
No, I don't want to pay $5,000.
And so I think that is going to be, I think you're going to start, this Norco fluid that I keep talking about. I keep looking at that bike going, they've already made a $4,500 carbon fiber, lightweight bike. It's got the smaller motor, so it's not as powerful. And it's a 150, 140 bike. But honestly, you put a DJI motor in that thing and you would have full power at almost the same weight. And then you just amp up the travel just a little bit, and you've got a Amflow.
Sweet.
Yeah. And so I really feel like that price point is more attainable. And now that there's going to be aluminum versions of some of these bikes, you're going to see a drop in the price even more. So I see a $4,000 full power, full power 150 bikes coming out, and with good motors, like motors that we all know. So
do you ever think we'll get to the point where we can, the same way we swap out every other part on the bike? Right now, I can't swap motors. Do you think we'll ever get to that point where there's an international standard for?
There's another secret coming out.
Uh-oh.
There's a new motor by a very popular company coming out, and I don't know the answer to this, but it is basically a less expensive version with a little bit less power of what their motor is now, and it's going to allow them to lower the price point. Okay,
this is the Avinox motor? Or?
No, I can't tell you who it is because I know somebody will kill me if I say. But plus, I don't want to steal people's thunders. But it may be a German company. That's all I can say. So anyway. So
good job, Dane.
This company,
you're like the worst secret keeper on the planet.
Hey, there's a lot of German motor companies. Okay. So this company is coming out with this motor that is kind of replacing their old motor. And I had asked the question, is it going to fit? Is it going to be the same mounting points as their higher end one? And I don't know if the source that I was getting this from actually knew. And so one of the things that I would like to see is that I would like to see
a standard.
I would like to see, even if it's a standard, if one of these motors companies has 3 versions, let's say they have a lightweight, compact version.
Yeah.
And then, and it's meant to keep the bike light. It's meant to be real natural feeling. And you've got a battery that's small, that's light, and you put that in the system. And let's say Pivot uses that and they build a bike around it, and that's great. But then it would be really nice if you could pull that same company's motor out and put in their next level up motor into the same mounting points. And if Pivot or whoever's making it had made the bike accept that same size, so that you can grow with your bike, instead of having to buy a new bike, and I went through this as an e-biker. The first thing I wanted was a light e-bike. I didn't need a lot of power. I just wanted to get to the top of the hill without just dying, and then enjoy the descents. And I wanted to ride with groups and not have my knees not screaming at me. And that's really was my first goal. And I really enjoyed that. And then my first one was that Pivot SL, and it was an amazing bike, and I loved it. I still love it. And I will tell you that I started riding with full power guys, and
You can't keep up with them.
I couldn't. And they're just chatting away, climbing these huge hills, and I'm on full power. They're in eco, and I'm trying to keep up, and I'm burning 1,000 calories trying to just keep up with them so that I can descend with them. And so I'm like, all right, I think I'm going to need a full power, but I had a full power, by the way. At the same time, I had a Rocky, and it was around 50 pounds carbon. And I did not like lifting it up off of drops and jumps. And so that was when I got my Pivot Shuttle AM, and that had full power, 47 pounds, doable, and I could keep up with all the big boys.
Can you imagine how rad that Shuttle SL would be with the Avinox motor?
I have told Pivot that if Brian, if you're listening, I know that you abandoned. I know you're not going to do it, but man, can you just make a prototype with one in it for me? Like that's.
Wait, can you make two?
Yeah. Man. So, well, and the key is the weight for me on this hype. One of the things that I think makes it not hype is the ones that are doing this 1,000 watts, 100 Newton meters, and the bike's still coming out 50, 55 pounds.
Yep.
I think those are the bikes that let the most people down. And I think that's why
it's so planted, bro.
Fuck. God damn it. Planted.
That might be the first time you said the F word on this podcast.
Yeah, the things that bug me about that word is that cornering does not mean that you need a heavy bike. You can corner well without a heavy bike. And we were talking about this.
I can't.
You can.
No, I can't.
Yeah. No, but you can. You can learn to.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm getting better.
Yeah. I mean, I have cornered on a 22-pound bike just as fast as I do on a 40-pound bike. It's not the weight that is making the bike corner well. The only reason that a heavy bike feels more planted, especially in corners, is you just have less braking attraction because there's just more mass holding you to the ground. And that's it.
Planted.
I know.
That's what planted is, mass holding you to the ground.
Yeah, but that's...
It's an accurate word that describes the situation.
It's stupid.
All right, let's go to our next one.
Okay.
That was, is the hype real?
Okay.
Can you dig it?
And I know now not to bring up e-bike topics with you.
Yeah, I'll talk forever.
I know.
I don't think we've ever done a full episode.
No, I've been avoiding it.
Well, why?
Because
everybody in the world is talking about them.
I know. We're different.
I mean, yeah, I know, but it's fun.
All right, now to a...
Do you know that when I ride mine, I sometimes go brap? I'm
sure you do. I'm sure you do. All right, for our final new category, this is the budget part.
Oh, yeah.
Bang for the buck.
Bang for the buck.
And what I thought would be cool to talk about, we talked about all these like expensive things all the time.
Well, let's do this. So
go.
We're gonna, when we do this bang for the buck, we're just gonna pick a category and just kind of deep into it. We're not gonna do like, this is the bang for the buck bar, this is the bang for the buck grit. We're not gonna do a whole bunch in each episode. In each episode, we're going to
pick one category.
Yeah, one category. And so
today we picked drivetrains.
Drivetrain, yeah. And mountain bikes, specifically one by. And I would say
12 and 11 speed, but at least wide range.
Yeah, wide range. Wide range is the key because we have some 11 speeds on here that are worth talking about.
Yeah. So we have, I think, 5 different, actually, groupos to talk about. The first one.
Oh, okay. I gotta preface this because we're saying bang for the buck a lot.
Yeah.
These are least expensive. There's nothing else out there in this category at this price, right? So,
yeah.
So
I don't keep going.
So like we threw in a SRAM, but most of what we're going to talk about is Shimano. There's a Microshift. Yes. Sorry. And,
but that's part of the fun here is to debate like which one will we use.
Okay. It's just like if you were to say this one's the least expensive and this one's the most expensive and everything in between, what's the bang for the buck? That's a different story. So like if we talk about old school, like you talk about SLX and XT and XTR, XT usually wins bang for the buck because it's close enough to XTR, but cheaper.
So maybe this is like budget bang for the buck or something. I don't know. But this was
this is the lower end. In lower end.
Yeah. Here's how cheapest MTB drivetrain that I would actually consider running.
Okay. That's a good description.
That's how I described it.
That's a good one.
for me, I'll just talk about there's probably 3 that I would consider, and you've brought in a couple extra.
Okay.
And you're going to be surprised by one of them.
Okay.
But I think first and foremost, hands down, 100%, Deore 12-speed, just fantastic drivetrain for the price. A little heavier, but carries, I think, the performance, like reliability of the higher levels is got trickle-down technology that's come all the way down to it, and it's just a fantastic Grupo for the price. What do you have for the MSRP for a Deore group?
So I did actuals. Yep. So around 425 to 580.
Yep.
The actual on that was around 405. That was picking a crank and a chain ring and things like that. That is a Shimano bottom bracket, Shimano crank, Shimano chain ring, everything Shimano.
And crank set as well.
And it's all 6100, M6100, 12-speed stuff. And so you can always mix and match with the 12-speed, with a lot of the 12-speed stuff, so you can play around with the pricing. But around 405 is a real MSRP actual price. Whereas, when we were researching, we kept getting ranges, because every once in a while you'll see, some brand that's got it
Good
on
sales.
sale, or it was a chain, cassette, derailleur, and shifter, but it wasn't a crank, or didn't include the bottom bracket or things like that. So,
or an off-brand chain or an off-brand cassette. Sometimes it gets thrown in the eBay groups.
Yeah. And so this is a rear derailleur, a shifter, a cassette, a chain, a crank set with a ring, and a bottom bracket. And we did all my prices are assumed on Shimano bottom bracket, because these are all Shimano groups. And just threaded. It's roughly the same price if you go press fit. It doesn't matter too much.
Yeah. So about $400.
Yep. Right at
roughly $400 for all that stuff. Just a fantastic option.
Now, so in my numbers and my actuals, the surprising thing is what I would have thought was the cheapest group was actually more than the Deore group, and that was the Cues. So,
I knew that the Cues was more.
Yeah, and in my mind, I think of Cues as a cheaper group. I had to do a lot of research to really kind of wrap my head around the fact that Cues isn't really meant to be cheaper.
It's meant to last forever.
It's stronger, and it's heavier because of that, and it's 11-speed.
Yep, still wide range.
Yep, yeah, wide range, but and so Cues is probably the better choice if you've got an e-bike or a commuter. Or somebody that's tired of replacing chains and cassettes.
And I won that Levo.
Yeah.
And stripped the drivetrain off it because it had like a low-end SRAM drivetrain, and I won't run any low-end SRAM. I won't run SRAM, but I won't run a low-end SRAM for sure.
Just put that all in a box and bring it to my house. So
I still have it.
Yeah, I know. I'm sure.
I'll give it to
you. Because you won't even sell it out of
It's not fair.
It's not ethically.
Ethically, I couldn't sell
ethically,
it.
you can't sell.
I have to burn it or something. I can't. Although I am loving my RockShox forks.
Yes.
So let's give them that. But no, I pulled off that. It was an NX or SX combination drivetrain, and I put the Cues.
Yeah, SX. We're gonna do the.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Yeah, that what is it? Office Space.
Office Space.
We're gonna do the Office Space printer scene, but we're gonna do it with SX
with SRAM SX.
Yeah. So,
but I've got the Cues on that Levo, carbon Levo.
Yeah,
and dude, it's bulletproof.
Yeah, it is good. It's meant to be strong. Like Shimano, they're like, hey, we don't really need it to be the smoothest or the lightest, but I just want it to last, and they just went for it.
Yeah.
So and they did that. So
if you're building up an e-bike, I think, and you want to build a budget e-bike, like the Cues is a good option.
So an e-bike.
So what's the price you have on the Cues? I'm sorry,
Cues for MSRP actual. So the range that we kept coming up with was 380 to 490, but the actual, if I go through the catalog with Shimano, actual MSRPs, it comes out to be 408. So it's just
about the same price.
Couple bucks. Yeah.
A couple bucks more than Deore.
Now it is based on an HG, not microspline. And so that is something that you do have to factor in a little bit.
Make sure your rear hub can handle.
So for instance, if you're going to upgrade your bike to Deore, for that 405, and you don't have the right hub body, that could affect your cost.
Because you might have to buy a new hub body, or maybe even a new rear hub
wheel.
or rear wheel.
Yeah. And so, for instance, if you have a SRAM hub, they're not going to give you a Shimano microdrive or microspline hub body for it.
Yep.
But if you have a Chris King or if you have a DT Swiss, you can just swap hub bodies.
Yep.
So, but that could add $100 or two. Like in I9's case, like
it's $200 for a hub body.
$190. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I9. Come on.
I know. So now they've gotten to where they sell it without the pawls and stuff. And so it's like just the hunk of aluminum for the most part. And you have to put all your stuff into it from your old one, and it's a little cheaper. But
I see why, because it's got the guts in it too.
Yeah, a little bit, but they all have the guts in it.
Okay.
So they're all like that, I guess the DTs are
just a body, right?
Yeah, just a body. Yeah, you usually use
I thought those were like $40.
No, about 100. Yeah.
Jesus.
I know. They're not. So that's what we're talking about. When we're doing this, you do have to factor that in.
Yeah, so pay attention to your hub body.
Yeah.
Okay, so Deore is like $400. Cues 11 speed, but wide range, strong, not light.
Yep.
Not going to shift. I mean, none of the Shimano stuff's going to shift you super amazing. That's at least this lower end stuff.
The Diore's close. Like it's pretty close.
Smooth. I mean, it's Link Glide, right? It's pretty. Or that's the Cues is Link Glide.
The Cues is Link Glide.
Yeah, it's Hyper Glide on the Deore.
Yeah.
About 408. So then I skipped SRAM NX because I would not actually put that on my bike, but you have a different opinion.
Yeah, we've used NX, and we've combined it with GX and even SX, because some SX stuff is pretty good. Like they make an SX crank that is dub, and the dub is the spindle. And they make what's called a power spline, which is awful. Don't buy a SRAM power spline. Sorry, SRAM. I'm so sorry that I'm saying this out loud, but honestly, the power spline system is awful.
You said don't buy SRAM. That's what I heard.
I said power spline. Damn you.
Yeah, I'm going to take that. Yeah, I'm going to take that cut.
That's
I'm
not
going to make
cool.
a song on it. Don't buy SRAM.
Because I can't do that. Yeah.
Don't buy SRAM.
Oh God. But the SX SRAM or SRAM SX dub cranks are nice and they're inexpensive. The NX cassette we use all the time. It's a good cassette. It is an HG compatible cassette, so that is one of our fixers for when people are upgrading. So like a big thing that happens in the shop with what we're talking about right now is they come in with their older bike, 2x10 or whatever, and they need a chain and cassette. Their pulleys are worn out.
They want to upgrade.
And they're like, I don't even think I can put 12 speed on my bike. It won't fit. That happens all the time. And it will fit. I'll tell you guys, it'll fit. Which is cool. Unless your bike is 7 speed, or I think if it's 8 or newer, we can fit it. But if it's 7 speed, you're screwed.
I've been telling girls that my whole life.
Right. Yep. So anyway, yeah, you tried to push a button. So anyway,
it'll fit.
NX has been the way that we can actually do like a GX upgrade on somebody's bike.
You just give them a crappy NX cassette.
It's a better cassette, but it fits their old hub body, so they're not spending that money. So, I'm neutral on this because I sell them both and I love them both.
Yep.
But if somebody came into the shop and they had an HG cassette hub body, and they're looking at Deore and they're looking at SRAM, believe it or not, it may actually be cheaper to do the SRAM build. And that's because of the cassette.
That makes sense.
And so we have to factor that in. And so that's something you have to factor in.
Yeah.
And then the NX will often mix in NX and GX and build what we call the NICA drivetrains, which is we basically put the best working stuff and then get the least expensive stuff to work together so that we get the bang for the buck. That's our.
So is it like NX shifter, NX cassette, GX derailleur?
Yes. Yeah. In most cases, that's it. And then if the bike that's coming in actually has an XD driver, we'll do GX derailleur, NX shifter, and we'll do an XO cassette.
Really?
If they can afford it, because the XO is such a big jump in weight savings.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
And so, but only if they've got an XD driver. Yeah. Otherwise, we still stick with the NX.
And what is the XO cassette? That's like $2,000 or something?
No, but it's close. It's very close. And that's the drawback to them.
It's not really $2,000.
And so, like, bang for the buck when you're in a racer is going to be different than when you're in this case. And
so what is the NX drivetrain? What do you got in your
it's $498 for actual.
$500.
Yeah, and so that's a complete NX drivetrain. So like the big thing that I noticed was like for instance, it's got the same cost in crank as Shimano, but I would say the big thing is the rear derailleur. 125 MSRP versus 75.
Oh.
So
it's
there's
$100 more to get a crappy NX drivetrain that I wouldn't run compared to the Shimano Deore drivetrain.
Man, you cannot be neutral, can you?
No, it's my place.
Yeah.
All right, but okay, so I want to talk about a SRAM drivetrain that if it was the zombie apocalypse, I might actually run.
The 70, 90 or 70.
Yeah, 70. But in this case, we're talking about the T-type. The T-type.
Yeah.
So the Eagle 70 drivetrain, which is a mechanical version of their transmission.
Yep. Yeah.
And the least expensive option.
Yep.
But it's still not a cheap turbo.
No. So that so here's what I would do. Like if I were to look at probably the number one people looking at transmission at the low end, guess what? Guess what kind of bike they have?
What kind of bike do they have? Transmission, low end. Is it an e-bike?
Yes. Yeah. And so if you do, like if I was an entry level e-bike, low end Cues, the next level up, I would do 70.
Okay.
Transmission. And I did just ride yesterday a new Norco that had the Deore. Is it Deore? Yeah, I think it was Deore. 12-speed drivetrain on it, and I was really surprised on how well the e-bike did
with the
Deore.
Yeah.
And if for people that don't know e-bikes or don't know what I'm talking about, let me just explain real quick that on an e-bike, when you stop pedaling and let that shift happen on your regular bike, the e-bike will keep pedaling. So when you're shifting an e-bike, it's often under full power, and so the drivetrains don't like that. And T-type is one of the only ones that really was designed to do that way. And so one of the reasons that people always kind of aspire, I think T-type is the most popular in e-bikes, is because of that overrun or delay or, the motor is still giving it power when you intended to actually back off a little bit. And so the drivetrain takes a lot of abuse, and the T-type is okay with that. It functions.
It's interesting. I do notice on my XC drivetrain on my e-bike, it is a lot crunchier and louder than it is on my other bikes.
And so you're doing a lot more harm to it faster. Yeah. And that's what people will say is, oh, e-bikes go through drivetrains. And so SRAM kind of, the T-type is fixing that. So if you start with Cues, that's great because you have a more durable system. So as it gets more crunchy and shifts under load more, you have more metal and more stuff that's just not going to wear out as fast.
Yeah.
And then the next level up would be the 70 T-type, which is giving you all of the transmission stuff, but it's mechanical. It's not electric.
Yep.
I can't remember the number of the SRAM cassette, but they make an HG cassette now. So you don't have to have a special XD.
So you can have either.
That's really cool. So like those Amflows, the low end ones come with that cassette on it. So that is really cool. And then you do need a T-type chainring, but there's a ton of them available. One of the things that I have to say about the Deore 12-speed that's a drawback, aside from the microspline, is the Shimano has a very distinct and special chainring profile. And you just can't run any chainring on a 12-speed Shimano system. And so that's important to understand. Because
is that you have to run a narrow wide? Is that what you're saying? Or?
No, you can't. And so you have to run a Shimano 12-speed compatible one. And it has actually narrower. So it's a narrow wide. It's like narrower than.
But obviously, like Wolf Tooth must make one.
They do. Okay. They do. But if you were to, run an 11-speed system, you don't have that issue. And if you run the SRAM systems like the T-type cassette or derailleurs, I'm sorry, I'm misspoken. The SRAM chainrings, T-type chainrings, are backwards compatible, and they will work with like an Eagle chain or a T-type chain or
GX drivetrain,
11-speed chain. They'll work with a lot of stuff, and so that is important. If you run normal narrow wide chainring with a Shimano, it'll often pop the links open, so because it's too wide.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
I think I might know a problem that I have.
So
I'm like, why does this keep happening?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So we set up my old business partner's bike with full XTR when it first came out, brand new. And I don't remember why we didn't put we put a fancy oval front chainring on it.
Yeah.
And so he went up to the White Mountains and immediately started breaking chains. And what we found out, we didn't know at the time, because it's fairly fresh. We haven't gone through the training. We haven't really dove into it. is that the
chains were skinnier than the
and so
cog could handle.
If you're putting your absolute black oval on there because you want to get a little extra power, and you're down and your dead stroke, it was popping the chain rings open or the chain links open, and so he was breaking chains left and right, and so we had to put a XTR on there.
Let's save that topic because I want to talk about oval chain rings in the future.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we haven't talked about that on the podcast. But what's the price on the 70?
The 70, I don't have an actual on that one. So you had yours.
I had a price of $575.
There we go. That's about right.
So
it's more.
Yeah.
But it's not crazy.
Nope.
So it's not 2,000. Yep. It's not, crazy.
So $400 for both the Shimano, $500 for the NX, $600 roughly for the 70.
Yeah.
And then the other one I wanted to talk about, and this is a smaller drivetrain company. Pink Bike actually has a good podcast on this if you haven't heard it, on the new Microshift Advent MX 11-speed. And I used to build tons and tons of bikes. I would buy older bikes, and at that time it seems like things were more compatible, and so I was able to build them up. And I would use strip off all the old stuff, and I would put my new Microshift Advent drivetrains on them, and they were fantastic.
Yeah.
Super cheap.
Yep.
The price that I have is $300.
Okay.
I don't know if you did a price on the Microshift.
I didn't see that one. Yeah.
But they don't make a crankset and they don't make a chain. So that price of $300 would include the Deore crankset, and Microshift says to use a KMC chain.
So the 300 does include a chain and a crank.
The cost of a Deore crankset and the cost of a KMC chain.
Okay, so when we said rear derailleur, shifter, cassette, chain, crank, ring, bottom bracket,
not bottom bracket. So what would a bottom bracket cost?
$27 to $30.
Okay, so $330.
Okay,
so the cheapest option, it sounds like in our list here, it was this Microshift MX 11-speed.
Now the Deore 5100 11-speed is only $380.
Okay, so
tell me something.
Is it wide range?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, they're all wide range.
Okay.
Would you?
I would put the Deore on.
Okay, so for
$50,
you would just go with the Shimano.
Yeah.
What do you think makes your decision on that? Is it brand recognition?
Shimano, look at that hat right there.
Yeah, you got the Shimano hat. Yeah,
Shimano fanboy.
Okay, all right.
I mean, I'm a fanboy.
Do you think? So I'm always interested because
so let's be clear on the fanboy.
Yeah,
this is 30 years of.
That's what I was about to say.
It's 30 years of using Shimano products.
Yeah.
On, I don't even know, 30 different bikes.
Yeah.
In building, I don't know, 100 different bikes or more. And I'm a fisherman.
Yeah.
And I use their reels.
Yeah.
So I've just had such good experience. And then on top of it, my company deals with Japanese companies.
Yeah.
We don't deal with Shimano, but we deal with Mitsubishi Heavy Industries, Kawasaki Heavy Industries. And just they're hard to work with, and they're slow and annoying and expensive. But goddamn, their stuff, it just works every time. Yeah. And so
you did just describe Shimano, but
so I'm in love with that design philosophy.
So you, even though you're a fanboy, you're really just basing that off of just the brand,
my experience,
its reputation it's built
with me.
Yeah. But not just you, but in general, it's done that with a lot of people. And I would say that's probably the only thing that Microshift has to deal with, is because the early Microshift wasn't that great.
I don't know.
Yeah, and in the bike shop experience anyway, it was always there's Microshift. I have a couple groups on my kids' bikes. Growing.
How is it working for you?
It was fine for them. Again, my kids are not out there
grinding it the way you do.
Yeah.
But I mean, I built at least a dozen bikes with Advent X. 10-speed wide range.
Yep.
And with guys that were ripping.
Yep.
And no problems.
Yep. Yeah. And so what's crazy is back in my real weight weaning days, I had a $350, back then was expensive, but Thai nitrate coated special super light cassette for my downhill bike. And it was insanely light. And I put it on this bike. I built it with NV wheels, and I built it with all this high zoot exotic stuff. And it was a downhill bike. So it still had to be strong, but also light. And I remember that cassette just shifted like ass. It was awful. And so like I learned early, just because something's expensive doesn't mean
it's great.
And just because it's cheap doesn't mean it's bad. Great.
Yeah.
And I've always respected Shimano's, probably their cassettes and chains, as being some of the most refined. Like their tooth profiles, the fact that they kind of pre-wear them, and that's probably not the right way. Like Shimano probably wouldn't want me saying it that way, but they go in and take off some of the sharp edges so that the chain moves quieter. Yeah. Through up and down. And that they do that with the chain. The chain has certain bevels. And as you get a nicer chain, you'll see more bevels. And so, you see the difference change. Yeah. And so like that is some of the stuff that they've been doing for years and years and years that sometimes people forget. And so if I was picking bang for the buck out of these groups.
Yeah. Which one, let's each pick, let's each pick two. What would
Deore 12 speed by far
is number one.
Yeah. Now if it's going to go on an e-bike, it'd be the SRAM T-Type 70.
Okay. And you would put that on above the Cues.
So here's why. And because
just shifting under load
for the extra $100.
Yeah.
I've now got a way stronger derailleur, way stronger, can take big impacts. And when you're riding an e-bike, you're sometimes just smashing through stuff and not realizing how much damage you're doing. Because again, if that's a 50-pound bike and it hits a rock, you've got a lot more force.
And it's interesting because my riding style so differently. Yeah. I don't prioritize that.
You see, so I look at that because I have to fix that shit all day long. And so I got a more durable derailleur. I got a derailleur that's rebuildable. Yep. The crazy thing is that 70, you can upgrade that thing to electric.
Oh, to electric if you
wanted to. Yeah. Its whole cage is replaceable. And for that extra $100, I feel like I'm getting a drivetrain that will last longer on a bike that is probably more likely to eat the drivetrain faster. And so to me, $100, absolutely. The Cues, I think, is great if I'm really just trying to make that bike as cheap as possible. Yeah. And I still want durable, and it really makes a money difference. But if you look at Cues coming out at $408, yeah, and you were talking what, 500? Was it what was the
for the Eagle?
For the 70, yeah,
it was 600, 575,
575. So $175 difference. I don't think that would make that big a difference if you're talking $4,000 bike. Yeah, maybe 4,500 is.
I think like the street price, it's about $100 difference.
Yeah, frankly. Yeah. And so for me, I would go with the SRAM.
Go with the SRAM. Okay. Yeah. Well, I would go with I would go, on an acoustic bike for sure, Shimano Deore. And you got me thinking now you've made some good arguments on the 70 because I've already put Cues on one e-bike and I love it, but I am in the near term going to have to upgrade my Rocky if I keep that bike. I don't know if I'm going to keep that bike or not.
You want to know something crazy?
What?
Your Rocky is one of the few bikes that you have to put a GX derailleur on. Or no, I'm sorry, you have to put an XO derailleur on.
Why?
I'll have to see if
there's no derailleur. It's not a universal derailleur hanger.
It is, but it's converted because they have that adjustable wheelbase. And so we have a couple Rocky riders. The first one it happened, we made the same mistake. We sold them a GX, then went to put it on and realized on the GX transmission, they change where the battery goes on. It doesn't sit on the back. It sits in the cradle. Yeah. And because of that, the profile of the cradle and where it mounts to the bike changes a little bit, and it hits the Rocky.
I'm not going to put an electric drivetrain on this thing.
I get that.
But so you're saying I can't put the 70 on it?
I would need to check the specs on the 70 and the 90 to see if they have the same problem. Yeah. And so if they do, then yeah, you
back to Cues.
Yeah, back to Cues.
Back to Cues. Yeah. All right. Well, so, hey, yet again,
and also
Shimano wins.
That is a selling feature. If you are riding a non-UDH bike,
you can't use a 70.
Then you can't use the 70, and so then the Cues would be the way.
And UDH
if it was e-bike,
universal derailleur hanger. All right, buddy, we have gotten through all 4 of our topics.
Holy crap!
And none of our bike shop secret topics, and we are out of time.
That's good. I hope I'm hoping everybody hears this and lets us know if this.
Yeah, just let us know if you like this format. If you do, we'll do more of these. I mean, obviously, we'll use the same 4. What are people talking about? What grinds my gears? Is the hype real and bang for the buck? We use those same 4 categories, those segments. the theory here is that they'll end up being segments that you can rely on and count on and understand.
And I would say that if you get a hold of us and give us a subject, give us something, it may end up being on the show because we want to know what everybody else is talking about too.
Yeah. So. Yeah, for sure. All right, buddy. Dane, I appreciate you.
All right, man. Keep riding.
Keep riding. Hey, what's up? This is Josh from the Mountain Cog Podcast. You got questions, comments, or feedback? Well, we'd love to hear from you. Shoot us an email. You can send it to mountaincog@gmail.com. Digging the show? There's a couple things you could do to help us out. First, you could tell your friends about Mountain Cog. And also, it would be great if you'd give us a good rating and review over at Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you listen. We appreciate y'all. Go ride. Keep the rubber side down.